Hi everyone, welcome back to another tutorial how to use DaVinci Resolve end to end. Today we will edit a full-fledged one project end to end. So what I've done so far is I have gathered a tutorial capture. What I was doing is I was doing a tutorial for OBS free screen recording tool, and this is my base file and intro file. Now the base file with the full length you can see, the intro file as a C waves you can see as well. The first thing first, we will create a very interesting intro. Now what I do is I typically go for resource videos and I bring them in top of the intro just to show some sort of grasping view, and on top of it I can either go for a permanent text or I can just go to the effects library as you can see, and I can just grab the text tool and I put on top of the existing clip. Now it's very easy to go for a predefined let's say intros, but my nature is I tend to have some sort of engaging video, and on top of it I want to write my own custom stuff. Now this doesn't give me a lot of flexibility but does the job pretty much well. So any font you want you can select, just write what you want to write. I say welcome to OBS tutorial. This is a tutorial I want to make and I want to increase the height. I just want to add some more details. As you now see that it's white in color, the background also has some white color, which is kind of hiding the true details and graphics. So first I will get over whatever I have to say. So I just mentioned complete stuff what I want to mention, and afterwards I'll do some sort of editing in order to align it and in order to make it visible. The first thing I want to do is to do the background a bit highlighted. So by default, as you can see, by default it's the color is black, but you don't see it because first of all the height is 0. So if you see carefully, when I increase the size or when I increase the height horizontally and vertically both, it will be appearing. After that you can adjust the brightness or adjust the transparency of it so that it really matches your scenery behind the scenes. Next step is it's a abrupt ending. What you will want to do is you want to first get done with the details. I want to make sure the opacity is not hiding my background intro graphics video, so let's keep it to a nominal range. Example 23, I think around 40 is fine. Now let's do something with the abrupt ending part of it. What you want to do is, if I zoom in, what I should be first trying to do is to play with the text appearance. When does the text appear start? When does the text appearance ends? In DaVinci Resolve you have a lot of complex options as well, but because it's a basic tutorial, I don't want to go to a lot of details. By the edges you can basically taper the edges so that intro text appearance is not very abrupt in appearing and resolving. Similarly, you can, by the edges of the video clip, you can also kind of taper the edges so that your video kind of fades away when it is ending. So also I want to align the underlying base clip one on top of each other so that when the first clip fades away, the other clip kind of starts kicking in. Also I want to taper, or I want to dissolve the second base image as well, footage as well, so that they kind of give a very cohesive impact. As you can see, one video dissolves and the other one starts appearing. Let's see it carefully. For your convenience, to respect the time constraints, I'm basically doing a fast editing so that, by the way, this is the voiceover afterwards so that we don't stick ourselves to the basic editing part. The main job of this tutorial is to tell you how to edit fast end to end. So let's move forward with the rest of the clip details. If you want to add a banner, for example, this video was illustrating how you can use the OBS as a free screen recorder to add money and work on the freelance tools. So I want to add this kind of image file as well in the video. So it would be nice if you kind of sandwich the image file between the two videos or multiple image files between the videos. So this way I'll grab a lot of graphics work or the screen captures, and I'll align them or orchestrate them, if you will, in a way that one ends and the other one starts. So technically I call it storytelling or story images. This is very helpful if you want to, let's say, make your video more appealing and more talkative. You can have some storyboard as an add-on. Now I align the rest of the footage which I sliced out before, and I then do the editing for the rest of the video footage, just going through quick fast forward. Now another important part is how to get around with the audio files or audio tracks. I bring up the audio tracks here. Now these audio tracks can be very disengaging if you are doing a voiceover afterwards, so I suggest to keep the volume low. It's essential to have audio file or music behind the scenes, but it's also can be a show breaker if the video quality is fine but the audio quality is too loud, or the voiceover is kind of hidden or swept away with a very noisy audio in the background. So if you see on the top right hand side, you can adjust the volume of the clip. I tend to keep it in the negative 20, 25, 26 or negative 30 range down the line, so that it's not too low, not too high. And just going through quickly fast forward, you need to orchestrate your audio files one on top of each other. If you want an up boosting, let's say upbeat zone, you can try different audio. Now next step is to do the voiceover. I added another track, A3. I named it as voiceover. Then you can go to the Fairlight mode, or I call it let's say audio mode or music mode in DaVinci Resolve. There you need to go and do the patching of the audio. Now we have dedicated clip to understand how to do the voiceover, so I'll skip that part. All you need to do is precisely select your audio input device and your track. Once you do that, you come to the recording area, you press record, make sure you don't forget to press it. Actually, if you don't see the bars lifting up or moving, you should understand that there's something is not in the right place. After that, all you need to do is to press start or start recording. That's it. If you see the red line continuously popping up, it means it's being recorded. Now please don't worry too much, because you can always go back and re-record yourself if you find that you did a mistake, you made a mistake, which is you don't have to basically start over. As you can see, you can just go back on the timeline and you can play where did you make the mistake, and you can go, let's say, half a second behind and you redo the recording. You can record as many times as you want. There is absolutely no restriction on the recording part of it. So it's fairly easy to do the voiceover. I feel that any of the tools that I have used so far, I tried pretty much everything. I tried Canva, I tried so many online tools as well. I tried Shortcut, but honestly, I found that the voiceover is the easiest when it comes to DaVinci Resolve. It's kind of a bandwidth intensive activity, but I feel that it's more precise and nothing goes wrong. Okay, getting back. So now we have our complete voiceover done end to end. You see many patches are there, one on top of each other. This really means that I made some mistakes and I re-recorded myself or corrected myself, if you will. Then I see that the audio 2 has a clip with a lot of noise on it, meaning there's a music which is very heavy on the beat. So I need to normalize it. I go to the clip volume and I'll decrease it a little bit. As I mentioned, rule of thumb in my experience is if you lower it up to minus 26 or something, you are pretty much in the safe zone. Then you align your voiceover as well. In my opinion, if you're not talking too much in a certain part of the clip, an interesting point that many factors affect how you should be increasing the speed or how you should be decreasing the timestamp. But what I understand is in tutorials you need to keep the momentum fast, so you need to uplift or downgrade the audio levels accordingly. To increase the speed, you can simply increase the speed. That would be fine. The timeline will adjust itself. If you select ripple, the timeline will basically squeeze it inside or will expand itself. Similarly, when you have still images, you need to be very picky with the audio level, because there is not much that you can say on a still image. So your audio or background music defines a lot of stuff. If you now play it back, let's see from the beginning. The one thing I feel which is missing here is a lot of animation stuff, because still images do not make much sense. And I want to first of all increase the speed wherever I need. So simply go to clip speed and adjust it accordingly. Here you will see that if I do not select the ripple option on the top right hand side, that means the clip somehow tries to adjust itself within the time constraints. However, if I select the ripple option, then the speed will basically shrink the clip shorter if I increase the speed, which makes sense, and the clip will expand on the timeline if I somehow reduce the speed. So let's play it one more time. Playing back again and again makes a lot of sense, because if you do not play back and you render blindly, you would end up in a lot of surprises. Plus, if you do not play back in the beginning, you will not be able to keep up the alignment of audio with the video. So I suggest first of all select the speed and all the animation of the video and then go for the audio options, because video, once you lock the video transitions, audio you can play accordingly whenever you want. Now you can select the speed or you can select the duration. You have both options. My suggestion would be to play with the speed more and with the duration less, because you never know how much of a speed would require to fill in a particular time scale or time zone. Few adjustments here and there. The most interesting part is you should lock the voiceover first and then you play with the music afterwards, and try not to increase the speed of audio when it comes to the music. However, if you are very slow speaker, just like I am, you need to maybe increase the speed of your voiceover a little bit, so that the duration doesn't go skyrocketing and the audience doesn't disengage. Also, in the audio options you have the dissolve ending available. You can some sort of dissolve in or dissolve out your audio as well. I'll explain in the ending part of the video how would you play with the dissolving part. Now next stuff is how to highlight the importance of the still images. Still images can be, as I mentioned, be very boring. So what I recommend is that on the still images you apply some sort of transformations. By default you have some transformation options available. If you just toggle the transform switch, if you will, your transformation will be enabled. I am a big fan of zoom transformation. You don't have to do much. You just select the image and you toggle the transformation. This way your image will be zooming in or out at the time of the on the timeline. You can adjust how much of a zoom should be applied, which makes sense, and you can select which area should be zoomed in once the zoom transition is applied. I think this one would be an interesting example to zoom into the screen when the transition comes in. And sorry, moving forward, a lot of other things are also there. So many transition options are there. You can apply pretty much all the effects in DaVinci Resolve. It's a very detailed tool. You can do a lot. Similarly, you have zoom in and zoom out, zoom start, zoom ending, a lot of let's say playing around which is possible. What I typically do is I just simply define my in zoom and out zoom, starting zoom and ending zoom for one picture or one image, and rest of them picks it up pretty well. Moving quickly forward to wrap this tutorial, your story image, which is, for example, in this case, the most important story image is OBS story image. That is the image you should be spending a lot of time on. And then fast forward, you have to do a lot of adjustments in terms of the clip. I feel that you are now champion at it. So quickly moving forward, you do your adjustments here and there. One thing I would definitely recommend is to have more video tracks and more audio tracks, because you never know when do you need to add some sort of audio track on top of the existing, or when you need to do some moving around. Please note, if you have spare audio track available, you can move around your clips up and down so that you can realign them or stuff like that. Similar in the video, it's always to have one additional video layer, so that if you want to add an announcement end to end from the beginning to the end, you can do that. Now the last part is to include your final image or final footage, which in my case, always in the videos I say please like and subscribe, which is fine for the startup tutorials, so that people can understand what you are trying to do. I remove the audio from the video. I disconnect the audio from the video, so I have only video file. Now I'll apply some transition of dissolving in and dissolving out, so that it doesn't make any abrupt impact. And that's it. That's all we have in terms of the tutorial. One more thing which I'm very interested always is to bring some sort of branding. So in this case, I'll bring my stamp, just any stamp you want. It can be thumbnail, it can be watermark. In my case, I prefer to do some sort of still image, because still image you can easily play around. You have to copy it as a video track file, and you can keep it for as long as you want, for example from ending to the middle to the end, whatever. So it's a highly flexible option. So I typically include it in the intro, and then I dissolve it, and then I maintain it from the mid to the end. Also, if you want to add some sort of banners, let's say if you have sections in the video 1 section 1, video 2 section 2, in my opinion, you can add some titles which can appear on top of the text. Similarly, if you want to hide the taskbar, for example in this case, in the bottom you can see some windows are open, which are my computer or PC's let's say details. I don't want them. So what I'll do is I'll hide them off completely end to end from the beginning to the last with the text which is appearing in the bottom. So I say, I don't know, anything you want, the OBS free tutorial, and then I align it on the bottom so that it can somehow cover my desktop taskbar. And also I will try to keep it from beginning to the end, because I don't want the taskbar to be hidden in the beginning or in the middle or in the last. I'll maintain it from beginning all the way up to the end. So align it. It's a cumbersome process to align it in the beginning, but when you have it, you can keep it or maintain it throughout the video. In the tutorial, if you have noticed a lot of times in the tutorials you have to record the complete screen, so you always end up with the taskbar in the video. So I feel that this is a very intelligent idea to put some sort of branding and put some sort of labeling, if you will, and then you can increase the transparency or the size of the background, so that it not only gives you a cool look to your banner, also it kind of hides your background graphics. This way you can get the best of both things, and you can align it accordingly. In my opinion, you always keep one track empty on the video level, so that in the last step, when you need to do the branding part of the things, you have your video track available to put this kind of branding. Some people put Twitter or social media handles on this space, but this is just how it is. You can add a very simple in nature text, or you can have as complex animation or as complex let's say transitions as you want. Some people continuously pop up some messages. For example, if they make a mistake, they can pop up a note that sorry, the video could not record the transition, sorry, the tutorial does not include the save option, sorry. I mean, you can bring up your, let's say, casual notes. Last step is to render. You know how to do it. On the extreme bottom right hand side you have the render option. You click on the render, you have profiles already available. I selected YouTube as a profile, and then I click start render. On the right hand side, you can see now there is a one job in progress, which is doing the rendering. It will take as long as it will take, because it literally has to parse through all the details of the video. And for me, typically it's a long and cumbersome process. So what I do is, typically I go to grab a quick coffee, or I do something other than editing in the meanwhile. Once you're done, I always play the video in the VLC or any player to look at it end to end. Because if I close the DaVinci Resolve program, and next morning I realize there was a tiny mistake which I did, it will be very hard to go back or trace back. But if I play it immediately, I will find out where is the issue. Typically, in my case, the issues are always in the audio levels. So if I am down at some point, if I'm speaking very low at some point, and my music is shooting too much, that would be a problem. So what I typically spot in my case is the audio level mismatches. Secondly, if I feel that there is dissolve issues, those dissolve issues are also popular in my case. So that was it. Thank you very much for your attention, and let's see each other on the next tutorials. Until then, bye bye.